welcome back to your Apatros review. In this episode, a double feature review, Cain double, Militia and Firetrap. Hi there, welcome back to your Apatros review. I'm your host, Militia, and join me as I take you in a wild world through science fiction, action, horror, all from the DVDs in my 1200 DVD strong collection. Now, in this episode, this will be the first of a couple of double features I'm doing in the next couple of weeks or so. This first one, this actually is, well, the DVD has got two films on it, Militia and Firetrap. Normally I'll do these double features separately, but in this case I've decided to do it together. Anyway, both of these films feature Cain, and these were done pretty much right after each other. Militia was done first in 2000, then Firetrap in 2001. And like I said, Cain stars in both of these. Anyway, now this disc that I just showed you is a double feature, and it's also both films are available in some cheap multi-packs that you can find in Region 4 shelves from years ago. Anyway, as for the first film, Militia, directed by Jim Wynorski, although he uses the pseudonym J. Andrews in the film. Now, the DEA, under the control of Deputy Director Anderson, conducts a raid on a rural compound owned by the Brotherhood of Liberty Militia. Both sides refuse to open fire unless provoked, but when a kid's rifle accidentally goes off and hits a DEA helicopter, both sides open fire with fatal results, causing a bloodbath. 2 years later, DEA sniper Agent Ethan Cutter, who was present on the raid, is assigned to go into a dangerous mission where he must go undercover and infiltrate another militia. His leader, the crafty radio show host George Armstrong Montgomery, is working with a rogue U.S. colonel to assassinate the U.S. president using missiles loaded with anthrax stolen from the government lab. With his female colleague Julie Sanders, played by Jennifer Beal, providing backup, Carter teams up with a combative former leader of the Brotherhood of Liberty, William Fane, to stop the plot. Now, ever since his starring role as Superman in the cult 1990s TV show Lois and Clark, Cain has not had much of a strong profile, instead winding up being stuck in the realm of B-grade action films and thrillers. A bit of a waste, given that he's actually quite a good actor, but Cain manages to be the top drawer of the cheap B-grades that he's been featured in. Militia was one of those cheap B-grades Cain was doing for his bread and butter work throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. The film was directed by a director I love to hate, the infamous hack Jim Wynorski. Even though Wynorski has done the occasional decent film, Deathstalker 2, the VHS cult classic Sympathetica Chopping Mall, and even the likes of Stormtrooper, which is another Sympathetica that ripped off Suspect Device, all three of which were at least passable entertainment. The vast majority of his work are pretty much just pile steaming shit. As for Militia, Wynorski operates an appallingly idiotic script penned by Steve Latshaw, a writer known for turning out horrendously bad scripts, and Wynorski's old friend and fellow hack Fred Olen Ray. Although I love Fred Olen Ray's films, they're all guilty pleasures of mine, even though they operate almost in the same level as Wynorski's work. The main difference being that Olen Ray is honest about his work, unlike Wynorski. Under Wynorski's direction, Militia is pretty much a dud. If it wasn't for the blatant thievery Wynorski conducted by stealing footage from one of my favorite films, Terminator 2 Judgment Day, and turning it into his film with some subtle changes to make it fit the storyline, I would have given the Militia either a D+ or a C. But aside from the stolen footage, there are little things that turn this film into a turkey. During the opening raid, the helicopters DA used changed shape constantly, another example of Wynorski using stolen footage, this time from Delta Force 2. And the idea that the DA would open fire without checking where that initial accidental shot came from is a pretty big mistake. Another mistake comes during the DA's assault on the missile silo. With one DA agent using a Kalashnikov assault rifle, no American federal agency would willingly use Russian-made military weaponry for their agents. And the observation that Jennifer Beals makes with Stacy Keach's initial radio broadcasts mentions things like anti-Semitism and racism, yet if you listen to the broadcast itself earlier, there are no anti-Semitic remarks or any instance of racism in here at all. I'm not talking politics, I'm just mentioning what's in the film. He's against the US government, but not actually racist at all. There is a slight fourth wall breaking gag where the two militia agents commandeered the missile silo by claiming to be shooting a film there, only for the caretaker to ask, I hope you guys are not making a porno. Something that was pretty funny. They replied that they were making action films even funnier in ironic fashion. The acting is pretty decent. The surprising thing about films made by either Jim Wynorski or Fred Olen Ray is that the actors who star in them treat the exercise with a good deal of cynicism, but at the same time turn out better and more professional acting than most actors in bigger budget films. I'd love to see these two hacks make a big budget film. The results will be pretty mind-blowing. And Wynorski and Fred Olen Ray have also done plenty of softcore erotic films during the early 90s. And if they made a big budget film, the results would be pretty mind-blowing. As it is, Militia is a bad film that would be most at home on TV at the ungodly hour of 3 a.m. Now for the gore report, there's plenty of shootings, explosions, and a guy getting tossed out of a helicopter, but otherwise no gore, no nudity either. Now, I'll do the DVD portion of the review last, because they're both on the same disc. As for Firetrap, this was one of the last films released by PM Entertainment, and I will cover quite a lot of PM Entertainment films over the course of the show. I mean, they were big in the 1990s direct-to-video action market. Anyway, as for the story of Firetrap, professional high-end thief Max Cooper, played by Dean Cain yet again, has just pulled off his first job after getting out of prison and is contacted by his mysterious backer for a job worth $4.5 million. The task? Getting his hands on the revolutionary VR computer chip that creators want to keep out of military hands. Of course, it won't be easy, so Hooper and his partner Vincent hatch a plan. Disguised as a cop, Hooper infiltrates a building where the president of IQ Industries has called an emergency board meeting in the hope of finding out exactly who amongst his trusted staff is selling him out as an insider. The insider, meanwhile, has been planning to use the occasion to steal the chip on the same night. So basically, Max Hooper and the insider both plan to steal it at the same time, without knowing about each other. As a cover diversion, the insider lights a fire in the supply closet, but the fire quickly spreads out of control, causing a massive fireball that traps the executives, including the president's soon-to-be ex-wife and nasty lawyer, the insider, and Hooper himself inside the top floor of the building, and with several other executives. Soon, Hooper has to find a way to help the very people who sent steal from in order to escape the building alive, while trying to expose the insider's identity and stop his backer, who turns out to be a CIA agent, from selling out to the feds. Now, a short while after doing Militia, Dean Cain started as B-grade heist disaster caper from PM Entertainment, indeed one of PM's last ever productions. For those who grew up after the video store era, PM Entertainment was a company that specialized in low-budget but high-energy action films designed for the direct-to-video market. The company, founded by filmmakers Richard Pebb and Joseph Murray as a replacement to the earlier company City Lights, started doing the exact same thing City Lights did, which was basically ultra-low-budget action thrillers. And anyone who's seen City Lights films in the late 80s will know about this. Anyway, PM gained their legendary clout after one of their films, CIA codename Alexa, became a surprise hit on cable TV video store shelves when one of its stars, O.J. Simpson, was put in the infamous trial for the murder of his wife and a lover, and we all know how that went. In no time at all, PM Entertainment became a legend amongst lovers of big-grade action VHS releases for their impressive catalog of insanely action-packed cheap actioners. They made about 80 films in all. By the tail end of the 1990s, PM's quality began to slip, and by 2000 there were no more. As for Firetrap, PM put their remaining resources into the film, and director Harry Dunn does a surprisingly decent job of propelling what is otherwise a routine combination disaster flick heist caper into a passable time waster for fans of this sort of thing. The characters are a wide plethora of your typical disaster movie cliches, well, for good luck if you're trying to figure out who the insider is on your first viewing. I won't spoil it for you, but it's not too hard. The rest of the film follows a well-trodden path of disaster movie playing one-on-one. For their part, the cast do a pretty decent job with their limited roles, some even rising above the rather tawdry material. As usual, Dean Cain does the best performance of all, although he's given some fair running for his money by Richard Tyson's building's security chief. I thought the idea of a professional thief disguised as a police officer being taken at face value by his victims as a cop, forcing him to play along to his own charade, although that doesn't last too long, to get them out otherwise they're all doomed, was a pretty good idea, although not one that will stand up to repeated viewings too well. The plot does wrap up pretty well with some cool twists to be had in the fire gags, which are a mix of CGI fireballs and a lot of practical effects. As late as 2000, B-grade studios are still primarily using practical effects instead of the CGI overkill that companies like Neo and Logic did a few years later, were okay enough, but some even a little gnarly looking. That's for the fire gags. There is even a reasonable car chase early on, which features one of the locations used for the legendary car chase shotgun duel between Carl Reese and the Terminator and the original Terminator a good 18 years earlier, the tunnel G-junction part where the original chase ended. Passable hokum that won't sour your night in. Now, as for the gore report, there's no gore exactly, but there are some burn arms in his legs. No nudity seen here either. Now, Militia basically gets a D, which is a 2 out of 10. I think it's just bad. Firetrap gets a C+, which is a 5 out of 10. Rating it is passable, and that's what it is. Now, both these films were released by Payless Entertainment on the same double feature DVD, which is pretty cheap. You can find like from $2 to $5, depending where you shop at the time, and also on various other single multi-pack releases. Picture quality for both films on this particular disc is surprisingly good. Both solid prints taken from reasonably excellent VHS masters without any glitching or artifacts. The sound for both films is English stereo and there are no subtitles or supplement. Although given that this is literally a $2 RRP DVD, the expectations you have for anything like a supplement on these is rather unrealistic. And that's it for this double featured review of Dean Cain Double, Militia and Firetrap. That's it for this review.